Hello, stitching friends. My shirt says, "Let the shenanigans begin." Happy almost St. Patrick's Day to you. This is going to be a short video. I got back from the Nashville Needlework Market on Monday, and oh my goodness, it was such a wonderful event. I hadn't been, since I shared a room with Nicola Partman back in 2019 and 2020, and things have changed a bit. My dear friends Pat and Peggy of Fern Ridge Collections had invited me to share their showroom in, mid-September. So honey, I have been hustling. I have charted several things, and two of my models are not quite done, but we went ahead anyway, and I have those things to show you. And another purpose of this video is because my 160 students in England who are stitching my Scottish Castle Etui, I wanted to go over a little bit more about the nun stitch with you. Oh my gosh, I want to show you what has arrived. I got all of the silks and the accentuate and the 103 and most of the linen. So I'm ready to kit. But first of all, let's look at a few things that I had for the Nashville Needlework Market. Let's look at the big things first. I won't drag the samplers off the wall, but this Scottish Call to Arms sampler right here, I charted, and that took me a minute, I'll tell you, and that was available for market. It was so lovely to talk with shop owners from all over the country, and Australia and England and Canada. Oh my gosh, that was just wonderful. And all across the United States, it was lovely to see Carolyn and Mary from Attic Needleworks, and Janine from Acorns and Threads, and also, oh my gosh, I met Susan, who has opened Liberty Needleworks in Williamsburg. And of course, I teach on Zoom and in person, so I love making these contacts. Maybe I can't zip over to Australia, but I've had several people who want to take my Scottish Castle Etui, so maybe we can Zoom with a shop over there. Anyway, so that Ten Commandment Call to Arms Scottish sampler was one that I have reproduced and had made into a booklet. I featured that in one of my lectures when I was at Hobby House in October for Nicola's The Great British Sampler Weekend Comes to America event. So I was delighted to share that one. And then this one, this is a 1779 sampler, and it is a Queen Stitch motif sampler. The only things not done in Queen Stitch are actually the little crown initials and the date that are in the center motif, center cartouche. And of course, my booklets. I've got lots of information in here about all of the stitches, and the stitch graphs, actually, every line on a stitch graph is one thread of linen, whereas on the charts, every square is, of course, 2 by 2 threads of linen, and this one, every diamond is a queen stitch. And there's a color symbol in each little diamond, so you know which color it is. And I made a road map so you would be able to tell where you were, which I found helpful when I was actually charting the rascal. And this one took me a minute too. Both of those samplers really exceeded my expectations of when I could get them done. It took me quite a bit longer. And the Queen Stitch sampler, I took the central cartouche and I made this darling little pin cushion. And Faye Rigsby made it into this for me. And look what she did. I had a tin that I had bought online from Stitch and Frame, and it had a little center tin piece in it. It's a tart pan. And so Faye did this. Faye Rigsby, Carolina Stitcher. The metal piece is in the bottom, but look, she made it so it could be taller or shorter by putting two pieces together. And I sent her this little trim. Isn't that darling? Of course, you might not love Queen Stitch as much as I do, but the sampler is remarkable. Very, very rare, and I am just delighted to have it. And Blaylock should be finished with the model soon. And oh my goodness, the pastels are lovely. It's going to be fabulous. Now, I did this little sampler, a little Scottish sampler I had that was made by a 7-year-old. I can't see what you see. Oh, let me turn a little bit. So this is the model, and you see the bottom part? I thought that would make a charming pin drum. So look, is that cute or what? And Faye made this little berry as a gift for me, and so I drew a template and put that in the charts too. That is the Ellen Margaret Jessie Murray pin drum. So I love making smalls to go with the samplers. And another mini sampler I did, this one is English, and normally I don't buy samplers if they don't have a date or initials on them, but this one was just too charming. Here it is. It's my tulip tree sampler. And I believe it's English just because of the symmetry and the stitches and the subject matter. I have many samplers that have these same motifs in them that are English samplers, but I loved that one. So that was introduced at market as well. And the other one, let me put that over here. You reach over here, excuse me. Okay, look at this. Oops, let me get the light off of it. So, let me see if I can get up close with the bow. Well, there's a light on it either way, but here we go. Let me tell you about this one. This is a little sampler that was made by a young girl who attended Valley Town's mission school. This was a Baptist mission school in Western North Carolina. I live in North Carolina, so this was special to me for many reasons. While her Cherokee name is not known, it is certain that she was the recipient of a beneficiary name, a common practice in mission schools. Now, Jenny Garwood has written this up about the school and about the sampler and the benefactor. Wonderful history, because this is a MESDA sampler, Museum of Early Southern Decorative Arts. I have been so blessed that I have been able to help them with some projects over the years. And when I met with Jenny Garwood at MESDA not too long ago, I had some friends with me, and we thought that it would be wonderful to reproduce this sampler. Things to know. This is not one of those horrible schools you hear about. Actually, the school was approved in 1819 by the Chiefs Council. And so they taught the children in the Cherokee language. It was set on a large farm. I think it was 80 acres, yes. And it included a farm, grist mill, and a blacksmith shop, as well as the school. There were there were about 5 different teachers, and it was a boarding school. And when it started, accommodated 40 children, both boys and girls. And what this is so important to me, this school became an important center of Cherokee scholarship and resistance to the Indian removal policies. So it was a wonderful, wonderful school. The leaders adopted the Cherokee language for instruction and for preaching. It trained Cherokee leaders, including Peter Ogania, John Wycliffe, and James Wofford, men who led the opposition to Indian removal policies in this particular part of the Cherokee Nation. So the little sampler is cross-stitch over 2, except for the words, which are cross-stitch over 1, and the bow at the bottom is beautifully done. It's outlined in chain stitch, and then it has satin stitch in between. Oop. Maybe you can see that a little better this way. So I was very, very honored to reproduce this for Mazda, and of course all of the profits for sales of the sampler will go back to Mazda. This darling little thing is going to be in the gift shop, and I have lots of the charts that I'm taking to them. And of course, all of these hopefully are in the shops that came to see me, and if you can't find them there, they're on my website. And of course, if the shops want to reorder, that's good too. So there, that's what I had at the Nashville Needlework Market. And you know, every time I go to a market or a seminar or teach a sampler group, a sampler guild or an embroiderer's guild or for a shop, the thing that I love the best is making new friends and contacts around the country. And this time, when I was in England in October of 2023, I met the loveliest person, and she became my roommate in Nashville. And so that was just a special blessing, and I was able to introduce her to my friends. So she multiplied her contacts in Nashville as well, and that was Simone DeYoung, a lovely, lovely person, and it was just a delight to be with her. So now let's get on to the nun stitch. Now, for those who are taking my class, those 160 students from all over the place, I just wanted to go over a few things. First of all, I have so many things packed up here. I want to emphasize that on my stitch graphs in the booklet, every line, I'm fumbling for the right, okay, here we go. Every line on a stitch graph represents one thread of linen. So, see here, this is the nun stitch. And to emphasize, you see the open part, it's like a U. And the open part of the U is your cutting line always. So if this was stitched on linen, we would be cutting here and we would be cutting here. And you see where all of these stitches come together? They form holes. And those holes are what we're going to sew through to join the pieces of linen. Let's see here. Just when I think I have everything out, I don't, but let's see, it's right here. Okay, so I think the thing that is confusing people is the nun stitch as it goes here. You see here, we're going to go across here in the nun stitch. Then for the dividers on the castle, we're going to turn the open part of the U this way and then that way, and then this way, because we're going to be cutting and removing these threads. And why are we doing that? Because, here's my little castle. So, we have the inside of the castle and the outside of the castle, and those little join lines become the flaps. So we're going to do none stitch across the top, then we're going to go down and across and up so that we can cut it. Let me find this. Okay. On the charts, you have the symbol N for none stitch all around the edges, and this is where those joins are. So you can go down one side, do a stitch in the middle, and then up the other side, and all the U's are facing each other so that you can cut and remove those threads. Here is a kind of a close-up. So here we're going across the top, and I always stitch from the inside to the outside. This is the cutting line. So you're going to go across the top like this, and then you're going to turn. So the open U is facing this way. You're going to do one stitch here facing up, and then you turn it around, and your U faces this way, because you're going to cut and remove these threads. And by stitching in this manner, it won't unravel. Yay! And we certainly don't want that. So, and same thing for the bottom. So all the little shaded ends around the edges are none stitches. So when we stitch the bottom motif and we stitch none stitches all around, we're going to be joining the none stitches. So let's look at this again. And let's look at this side. So you can see right here where I stitch down one side and then up the other side because we're going to cut this. Now, someone actually in Nashville, who was in my class, was very confused, and we talked and talked, and you know, communication is tricky. What I say may not be what you hear. And I kept trying to listen and figure out, you know, where we weren't connecting. And then she said, the next day she said that she had watched some none-stitch videos on YouTube, and she understood now. She had forgotten that every linen thread, every thread on a stitch graph is a linen thread. And she was thinking like the boxes on a stitch chart, this would be 2 by 2 threads. So she was confused between a chart, where each little box is 2 by 2 threads, 2 by 2 linen threads, each little square. On the chart, she was thinking that these squares were the same and trying to figure it out. So it's important to remember that on my stitch graphs, each line is a linen thread. I hope that helps. I went old school on you. Nicola suggested that I talk about this, and I need to figure out how I can actually stitch so that you all can see it. But I went old school because my hands always get in the way, especially, I brought plastic canvas, but I decided that I would just stitch it for you on my chalkboard so you can see. And these circles are where the holes are. So this is a cutting line, and then you're stitching like this, and these are the holes that you're going to join when we finish. So those of you who are taking my class, I know this is very rudimentary, but I hope it will help. Those little X's, those show the threads that are being cut. So it's the same as the chart that I just showed you. And I know you all are spread out all over the world, which is why YouTube works well. You can watch it when you're available. If you have a question and you still are confused about the nun stitch and how it works, you can email me and we'll make a time to get together. But I think if you remember that on the stitch graphs, every line is a linen thread. And it's different than on the chart because that's what this person was confused about. We're going to join through the holes of the nun stitches, so our castle will be all put together. You will have stitched the outside and the inside, and then we'll join the nun stitches and the bottom's going to hook on with buttons and loops. And I plan to, of course this is flat out, I plan to lace up the sides, the open side on mine. I just run, straight stitches up and then put a little ribbon, weave it through and tie it in a bow. And that's so the whole etui can be collapsed, doop, boop, and you can carry it flat. You can pack it for traveling, and then you'll just be able to rebutton it and it'll be good to go. And you can leave it up if you want, the towers and the turrets up, or you can fold it up like a box if you want to display it that way. And of course, what I've told my students is my design is just the basics. I had a lot more architecture in it when I started, and I thought, oh honey, it's going to take you the rest of the year to stitch this. So I simplified it, but it is a perfect opportunity for you to choose a season. If you want to winterize it, what could you do? You can make frost outside. You can put frost on the trees. You can decorate it for Christmas. If you want to, you could make it springtime. You could put some vines up over the doors, a little wisteria. You could make more flowers. There's so many things you could do. You can make it into autumn. I'm so excited about the possibilities, and my students will have done the outside panel and the inside panel, and this is the floor, and I have an option for some doors and a drawbridge. I might make my door so it can open, and I'm not sure what I would put inside. I have the Queen, Mary Queen of Scots inside already, but maybe she had a little dog that could be at the open door. I have a little dog under the table. I say little laughingly. But anyway, so if you have any questions about the nun stitch and how it goes together and how it impacts the design, please send me an email. It's cissy2449@gmail.com, and we'll see if we can get it sorted out. I'm so excited about this trip, and several people ordered kits, and look what came yesterday. So I'll hold this up. Look at these silks. Those silks and these silks. And let me reach for this. Accentuate. And for the nun stitch, this is the color that matched the Steinbeck linen. I like when I'm doing nun stitch on a small that I'm going to use to make a self-lined project. I like to match, I like the 103s, and I like to use it to match the linen. Look at this gorgeous 40 count Steinbeck linen. Oh, it's so beautiful. When I was designing the castle, I had been to Scotland and England and in and out of lots of castles, and I had books with castles in them. And also this, you reach over here, this sampler with a castle on it. And the Steinbeck was a beautiful match for the reproduction of the sampler. So I decided that I would use the same colors for the Castle Etui as I did for the sampler reproduction. So again, if you are in my class and you have questions, email me. And I know we're in different time zones all over the world, but we will find a time to get together one way or another to answer those questions. And for those who have ordered kits, I'll be working through the weekend putting those together. I still have more linen on the way, and hopefully I'll get an ETA on that. So happy stitching, and I hope you have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. I like this shirt. It says, "Let the shenanigans begin." I'm going to a protest on Monday, St. Patrick's Day, and I believe I better wear this. Well, you all take care of yourselves and take care of each other, and hope you get some stitching done. I need to get back to my castle model now that I'm back from Nashville. But thank you for your time. And again, I met so many shop owners across the country and beyond, and they like the idea that I teach on Zoom and lecture on Zoom as well as in person. So hopefully, we can get some classes going here and there and everywhere. So I'm going to sign off. Charlie's still under the table and hasn't gone crazy barking. So you all take care, and happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye-bye.